Hello and welcome to episode 36 of Crucible Bootcamp. I'm your host King Koala, and today we're going to be taking a look at a Stormcaller Rumble on Exodus Blue. Our hero JT is running Thorn and a shotgun. So let's go ahead and get into it. So again, just to recap, we want to be getting into our engagements as quickly as possible in Rumble so you can win the game. So he used very nice use of the head glitch on his opening gambit. For as soon as he gets low though, he backs off, which is good. We want to be backing off and trying to pull players around cover. He has a really nice defensive grenade here, just to get a quick tag on his target when coming in. That basically evens the odds. He's running max recovery, so you can see he almost has full health back after his retreat. And his opponent's at no shield, which is good. It's about 100 health left on our target. So you get a quick shot on it, and the neat thing about Thorn is with that dot we get to track our target. So he just a very nice, easy cleanup kill. The only critique that I would have about this particular engagement is when I retreat, if my goal is to pull my opponent around that corner, normally I'm going to try to crouch once I pull around that tube area. And what that's going to do is it's going to leave me off radar. So some players are going to think that I ran down the tube, and they're going to initially think it's safer to push in and not try to necessarily chase me down. It's nice, just pushing out very aggressively, gets two headshots on his target, who's already primed. Again, we're just pushing back and forth to find other targets. So this is good. We're close to cover. You can see he's not really too far from cover. When he does push out, he tends to hug. And now that we're caught between two people, we have to make a decision. Do we push the player in front of us, who's already running away, or do we deal with the player behind us who probably just spawned, who's going to push straight at us afterwards? So he kind of puts himself in a position where now he's surrounded. Instead of pushing one person, he's continually trying to get a different angle on whoever's pushing. And now he's just going to get pushed straight forward by Jug Titan. He does end up trading, which is good, but in this situation where you end up not really knowing where to find a target, what you don't want to do is push in at people. You could have waited on train car there and waited for the person that was pushing on either side, either on ramp or out in warehouse proper, in order to push into you in this position. This could have ended up in a clean kill as opposed to a trade. So off spawn, again, we're just looking for another target. And I really like how this engagement initially plays out. So initially, here, we get to this position, and we see someone pushing into us. So as we have our primary out, and as soon as we land, we're backpedaling. So this is nice. But you expected the player to push into you and you have your shotgun out. You should still be taking a shotgun shot here and then switching to your primary. Because by not taking a shot at all, you basically guarantee that you're going to lose this engagement and you need to completely disengage. What you don't want to do is try to finish the fight when the target already has you no shields and you haven't even put any damage onto them. So there you need a clear plan for what you're going to do. If you're going to backpedal, then backpedal, have your primary out. If you're going to try to shotgun bait, then you have to take a shot. You still have to put damage on your target. Don't hesitate or take too long to make a decision, because that's going to hurt you in the long run. And that's probably not the first time that's come up either in games. Like that hesitation is something that happens over and over and over again. It's better for you to just waste the ammo in that situation where there's still, you can still put damage on them, but you won't necessarily kill them. That's fine. You should still be taking that shot, so you try to even the odds. Here, the pull back down below cover is good. So you have two decision paths to make. You can push over the top with a shotgun, or you can push around with your primary, depending on where you think your opponent's going to go. Because this is Thorn, we know where our opponent's going to go as the dot ticks. Moving up is always a good idea, especially if you're playing against something like a Striker Titan, or in our case, a Hunter. Anytime a grenade is going to get thrown your way, if you don't move, grenades are going to kill you and clean you up very easily. So pushing up and making a decision here, a quick decision, is good. We put ourselves into a position to get nice primary shots off. Even though you pull out of that engagement, the fact that you pulled into cover was good. I don't know if you knew that was if that was intentional or not. If it was, great job. If it wasn't, you should continue to do that. But, you know, on purpose. But a good commitment to the kill. I like the push that goes behind C lane here instead of through C boxes, because if you go through C boxes, you're gonna end up getting crossfired from a lot of different places. But by picking C lane, you can basically only be attacked from two areas. People coming out of C flag, and then people spawning behind you in Bravo spawn. So limiting your options of exposure to the enemy is good here. Same situation. And again, we didn't overcommit. We didn't try to take out a shotgun to try to get a quick shotgun kill. We just backpedaled with our primary and cleaned them up real cleanly. I really like that kill as well. So the slide around the corner is good. I would have liked to see a slide all the way over to your cover, because by crouching in the center of this lane, you're just too far away. If someone does end up being down this lane, you have to completely commit to a kill. You want to give yourself options when you come into these traffic lanes where you think players are going to be. You want to give yourself the option of leaving in case they get first shot off on you, or in case you miss a shot or two. If you don't give yourself that option, you're going to put yourself in more situations where that become higher pressure and where you have to land your shots or you're going to die. So let's push up here. You just get a crossfire there. Reloading behind cover is really nice. Again, pushing up through our cover. Don't really see anyone, so this is a situation where you can either gain ground for your shotgun, or you can try to sweep around with your primary, which he tries to sweep around with his primary and then doesn't make a decision on pushing anyone. So again, we've put ourselves in this position where now we're surrounded and we have to push into someone, because one of those three people that are on our radar right now is going to end up pushing into us. So we get very nice, I wouldn't say a clean kill, but you knew where your melee range was for these kills. This one and the follow-up. Really, really nice kills there. That's how you should be shotgunning as a Stormcaller. So if you're a Stormcaller and you're watching right now, take notes. That's how it's done. You don't need to get into shotgun range. You just need to get into melee range, which is 12 meters. And your reliable kill with your Matador is about 8. So 4 meters is enough to get off at least one primary shot. That's a big deal. Especially if, you know, you're playing against something like a Last Word. If you don't have to take that third or that fourth shot on that Last Word and you're in shotgun range, you're golden. And that's the whole counterplay to the shotgun playstyle, right? It's that Last Word, it's the backpedal, and it's the fact that they can get primary shots off on you. So if you reduce the time that it takes for them to get primary shots off on you, you just don't have to work quite as hard to get those same kills. Again, another really nice push out. And here you see someone pull to your right, and you're behind this this pillar. So the issue now is that our opponent has tagged us with Thorn in this position, so they know where we are. So what we don't want to do is leave too early. We're a max recovery Stormcaller, so if that Titan that just passed by doesn't have a lightning grenade, he has to push into us, which is good for us because we have a shotgun. So then we're going to end up being trading. Which is much better than just getting picked off for free during a crossfire situation, because we weren't at full health. We weren't really prepared to be challenged in that particular position. So you have to make the best of it. So taking out the shotgun there, really good. Pulling out of your cover, not so good. You want to try to hug that pillar. So right now, you see someone in front of you get a free kill, you know, same crossfire situation. We've held our super for a while now. Let's see, when we actually got it was 210. So we've held it for about 20 seconds now. The problem with holding your super in Rumble, especially when you play against Titans, and especially as a Storm, is that Titan Smash charges faster than your Storm does, unless you're running something like Electrostatic Mind in non-Rumble. If you're in Rumble, it's kind of a moot point. If you're getting a lot of kills, which we are in this situation, it's going to be real close when we get our super. I would say in this situation, being up 400 points, you would have your super up before any smash. So in that situation where we were low, where we got tagged once, we could have potentially popped our super, backed up and around, and then taken care of that guy and not had to die there at all. But again, here, as soon as you see someone, you can pop your super and try to chase them down. Or again, you can just let them go. That guy's just going to leave. But here, you could have popped your super and pushed up at this person. But instead, you gave yourself no opportunity. And you ran away. So now you're trying to re-engage. This person isn't here. And you should be reading your radar every moment you're moving. If you don't see anyone, check your radar. You know where they are. Okay, they're around the left here. As soon as you pull around and they're not there, you need to instantly scope out and see your radar again. So you can see, again, we've put ourselves into a position where we're in between 3 people. What you don't want to do is chase the person that's right ahead of you. Because the person that's right ahead of you, if you can't see them, is running away. Or they're baiting you. So either of those situations aren't good for you. You want to take care of the people that are running straight at you because they're going to be running out of cover in order to try to find you and pick you off. That's going to be an easier kill for you. And then if the person that's baiting you comes back and cleans you up afterwards, that's fine. That's not a big deal. But here you're just putting yourself in a position where the person that is running away or baiting you is pulling you out of your, decent push into anyone else and exposing you to everyone else that's trying to surround you and pinch you as they come in. So, and then this is kind of the big point that I wanted to make from this review is when you're running away, there comes a point where you're either fleeing or disengaging. And there's a difference between the two. So fleeing is just when you're running away, you're trying to regroup with your teammates, you're just trying to survive, right? It's survival, like I'm scared, I'm getting pushed, I need to leave kind of thing. Disengaging implies that at some point you're going to re-engage the opponent. So when you think about disengaging, you should think, okay, I'm weak, I'm losing this gunfight, I need to leave, I need to get a new angle, and then I need to re-engage from a different spot. Or I need to re-engage in a spot that's advantageous to me based on my loadout or my abilities or what have you. In the case of the shotgun, when we're disengaging, when we don't have a great angle on whoever's pushing us, what we want to do is we want to force them to push us through a choke point. So all we have to do is turn around and shoot them. But by pushing into... So here you had a good idea of where you needed to be, right? You wanted to push them into that choke point behind you under the bridge. Unfortunately, you didn't go all the way in. You need to go all the way in because then they're going to be forced to go into that choke point as well, and you're going to end up trading, which is a lot better than what ends up happening. Because he just flies over the top of you and hits you because you're exposed because you're not under any cover, and he gets his full push. That was a Titan, so he even had Juggernaut while he was chasing you. In that situation, if we just spend that extra second and just think, hey, I need to pull him into a choke point, where's my closest choke point? And then you can turn around and re-engage, because then that you've put yourself you're giving yourself the opportunity to be successful, to get a kill. Times 3 minutes. Similar here, as soon as you disengage a player with the idea that you're going to re-engage them, you have to keep track of how that's going to happen. So during this push, if you know that someone is around this corner and it's going to be a shotgun bait, it's a good push forward, and that's a very nice defensive grenade. Or offensive grenade, I guess, but because it missed, you need to backpedal, and this person's obviously going to shotgun warrior you because he doesn't have his primary out and he's just jumping at you. What you want to do is just burst back with your primary, not with your shotgun. If you're going to have your shotgun out and you're trying to bait this person around the corner, you need to go straight up because you're trying to put them into shotgun range. By pulling back, you're keeping them out of shotgun range, and you're actually giving them every opportunity to kill you. Because you don't have the right gun out for this particular engagement. If you want to do this kind of shotgun bait, you need to have your primary out, and you just need to be peppering them the whole time. If you want to actually shotgun them in this situation, pull back around that corner, float straight up, not back. Straight up means that you could shotgun them, and then hopefully follow up melee. In this position where you basically have no shot, and your opponent's most likely going to jump over you, not necessarily slide, because this guy looks like he's jumping a lot. He would have slid into you if he wanted to kill you there. You need to, again, not ADS it at all, not try to track the target, just assume he's going to be behind you or he's going to shotgun you from straight up. If you assume he's going to be behind you, you can slide through and flip around, or you can just primary him down and try to get 2 primary shots in a melee. So just a little bit off of the melee there, not a big deal. But that engagement didn't have to be a death. That engagement was very easily, it could have very easily turned into a win if our movement and our decision making was a little better. So here, remember how I talked about before you want to go through back C lane? This is why. Because off this spawn, we pushed into C boxes, and now we have no shot on that person. And now we're going to get crossfire now that we're around C boxes. Luckily, our opponent isn't really paying attention to us, but in this situation, again, we want to have our shotgun out. We finally decide to pop our super 1 minute after we got it, so we just get smashed. There's no way that was not going to turn into a smash. So now the game's most likely going to start getting out of hand because everyone else is going to start getting their supers. We've held onto ours for way too long. We didn't take advantage of the fact that we had a point advantage over our opponents, and we obviously got our super before everyone else. So this is a situation where it was a flee and not a disengage. Disengages, where you end up wanting to engage the enemy again, isn't when you're absolute. Absolute is normally when you want to flee, or in case of a shotgun, you want to pull them into a trade. But if you really have no angle and they're just too far away from you, then you want to flee. And then you just need to figure out how you can get to a point where your opponent's either going to lose interest or realize it's too dangerous to keep chasing you because you're going to be at full health, and then you're going to be back into a normal neutral state engagement. So pushing back and trying to find your target, I can tell you right now, this person is in B lane in that B warehouse. If you want to challenge this person that's pushing you in B warehouse, and they're obviously pushing you because they're just sweeping around behind you, it's very easy to just jump on blue tanker here and take care of them. What you don't want to do is run away from someone that's chasing you. Because what ends up happening, if they're chasing you, is they continue to chase you, and in this case, they just shotgun you. In other cases, they're just going to primary you down. You want to take care of the immediate threat, and the immediate threat in Rumble is the one that's always chasing you. Yeah, you want free, easy kills, but you also need to keep track of if you try to put yourself in a position for free, easy kills, and someone's chasing you, you are the free, easy kill, not the person you're firing on. So secure your area first, and then try to push other players. So here, again, you're constantly keeping yourself out of shotgun range, which is good. That's a position you want to put yourself in. You don't want to get shotgun when a Titan is pushing you like this. But have your primary out. If your entire intention is to backpedal and to create negative space against your opponent, you have to use a weapon that benefits from that space. Shotguns don't benefit from negative space. Shotguns benefit from positive space. They benefit from you pushing into the enemy player or the enemy player pushing into you. So if you want to have your shotgun out, let them push into you and just kill them when they get there. If a Titan wants to shoulder charge you, your shotgun's going to win every single time if you can hit them. Because the animation isn't going to finish and you're just going to kill them. And then they're going to fly through you. Their body's going to fly through you. But if they're not going to shotgun charge you and they have Juggernaut, then you want to create negative space. You want to make them drop the shield. You want to move laterally so they have to turn. And if they're not using something like Dune Marchers, that shield isn't going to stay up. They're going to drop the shield to have to turn and reacquire a target. The smash here isn't a big deal. I mean, it's an I win button, and he wanted to win. So this engagement here is a big, huge mistake, and why I think a lot of players, maybe not you personally, but a lot of players think that Juggernaut is overpowered. Because when someone is pushing you with Jug, what you don't want to do is stand in the Titan lane he's skating down. You have to move to one side or the other or jump above it. Because jumping above it means he instantly has to drop a shield to aim up at you. Try to shoot you. If you move side to side, he can't turn fast enough unless he's using something like Dune Marchers. And if they're not using Dune Marchers, then he can't turn fast enough because while you're sprinting keeps your shield up, and while you're sprinting, you can't turn as fast. The turn radius is the angle on the turn radius is very narrow. So it takes him a lot longer to make a full rotation around to try to re-engage you. By moving laterally, you put them in that position where he can't have the shield up anymore, and you can just shotgun him. And you even have your melee up, so you don't even need to be very close to kill him. You just need to be within that 12-meter range. What you don't want to do is wait for him to get to you. You just constantly want to be moving to one side. So you picked a side, which was good, but then you pushed into him, which was bad. You're very lucky this guy missed his shot. Well, the first time. Unfortunately, you know, you have to double melee him in this position because you had your shotgun out and you already fired one shot. But that was just another situation where that could have been a kill that you've gotten. So good pull into cover. You basically give the guy no shot. Nice jump out of cover. Again, this is another way you can engage out of cover is through jumps with hand cannons. Very clean kill. I really liked it. I like that engagement a lot too. So when pushing around with a heavy machine gun or light machine gun, what you don't want to do is set yourself up to get supered, and also what you don't want to do is push into players. You win every single primary engagement with a machine gun. It produces a lot of flinch, and it does damage a lot faster than pretty much any other gun in the game, barring the last word on a 3-tap. Barring that, you're going to beat every single primary in that good range. So what you don't want to do is try to engage and push into someone. Like here, we just pushed into someone, they end up flanking around behind us and supering us. If we just held our position in the back, we would have at least gotten a trade there for the Nova, which is a lot better than just getting Nova'd for free. Kind of funny that you switched to rocket. I tend to almost always run rockets for that reason. It's just easier to kill. You don't need to try to get 5 or 6 or 7 kills with a full machine gun heavy clip. Just take your 2 kills. You're gonna get them a lot faster using a machine gun than a rocket launcher, and you don't really need to worry about supers because you can just hide as soon as you fire. There's no commitment time to a rocket. It's the same thing as shooting a single hand cannon shot. So again, pushing through a field, pretty dangerous. I would suggest players skirt around the edges and the sides, either go through A lane or go around through that back lower like alpha spawn bridge area. Pushing through A field sets you up to get crossfired too much. So even though this was a safe push in this instance, it's not always going to be safe. So we're using the head glitch here, which is good. I like seeing people use head glitches. It means you know where your cover is. You know what it looks like from your enemy player's perspective. Another good example of a disengage, we're pulling our target away from the good position and pushing back into them. But unfortunately, we get crossfired from behind because we tried committing to 2 separate engagements here. If you're going to chase someone, again, continue to chase them. Because they're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to acquire that target. That's a free kill. And then just like that situation that happened to us before where we got cleaned up after the kill, that's what position you're putting yourself in by chasing someone. By abandoning them and turning back around, especially after you've already taken damage, this is what's normally going to end up happening. It would have been very surprising to me if you did end up getting a trade there, or even a kill, because of the position you were in, especially that push head on. This kind of brings up another point as well. There's 2 separate types of engagements. There's direct conflicts, and then there's indirect conflicts. So a direct conflict is something like you push. You see someone, they see you, you push right ahead of them. They can see you coming, and it's up to them to parry your attack and riposte to kill you. An indirect attack is you see them, they see you, but instead of you pushing straight forward, you push around, and you're still closing that direct path to try to get into that challenge, but you're doing it around instead of straight ahead. So that comes up in a lot of engagements, and everyone understands a direct engagement. It's very easy to understand. For instance, here, our opponent is pushing straight at us with a jug shield. He ends up dropping it too early, so we end up killing him for free. This is a direct engagement where our opponent is just, pushing us as hard as they possibly can to try to get into that space. And we're not going to allow it, right? We're just parrying his attack, and we're counterattacking, which is good. But how would you deal with that if that was an indirect engagement? Well, he would see you, he would be pushing into you. Let's say he kept jug shield up. An indirect engagement is you break that line. You move laterally to the side to break that line where he has to drop jug shield, and you attack him from a different angle. So you've parried his attack, but now you're riposting or counterattacking from a separate spot. It's an indirect engagement. That's also how you beat Jug. Jug is not beat by direct engagements. The power of Juggernaut is winning a direct engagement. And it's countered by an indirect engagement, just by moving side to side or up and down. Mostly up. Don't normally want to go down against a Juggernaut. There's another example why you don't want to push C-boxes, because again, you just get crossfired. Someone's behind us. Again, trying to create that negative space, trying to bait them around this corner. Good pull up and over cover. And again, this is just another situation you put yourself in where you weren't close to your cover. You were getting pushed by someone. You didn't chase the guy that was running off. And so when you re-engaged, you re-engaged completely in the open. Your cover in this situation was reversed. You had good cover against the person you were chasing, but the cover against the person that was pushing you was awful. And I say this like it's a really easy thing to do, right? It's really easy to turn around and just like, oh, there's my cover, I gotta go move into it. I understand that it's not at all. But in order to get on the next level for Rumble, you not only have to be aware of how you're getting attacked front to front, but also how you're getting attacked from your rear, from your flank. And understanding what your cover looks like and being able to visualize how to move around a map backwards is going to be that next step. And that's really hard to do. But if you're going to win more Rumble matches, then you have to figure out what it looks like when you're being chased. So another, again, direct engagement there. We just get a very, very free kill because we just spawned and that guy had no idea where he needed to look. Completely exposed out of cover. So again, here, this is another engagement where you have to completely commit to the kill. Now, committing to a kill isn't necessarily a bad thing. But you have to keep in mind, like, if someone does leave or disengage, you need to immediately pull into cover. You can't really wait around. And you need to basically deal with however they're going to end up retreating. So in this instance, it was really good. We committed to our kill. We got our target absolute. He ran behind the pillar, so we know we can either push him with our shotgun or we can wait for him to move to one side. In this case, our opponent moved to one side. We put ourselves into a position where it was a quick kill, and then we moved into cover. This is a textbook good challenge. It was a good confident challenge to slide out of your cover into it. You committed to it until the opponent disengaged, and then you adjusted to however they were going to attack you. I like the pop-off spawn here. There's probably no way you're going to survive off spawn when someone's pushing you like that. Very important that he didn't push into the opponent there in that particular instance. Because, again, Titan, if you get in that melee range, does a lot of damage. That guy had a shotgun, you could probably get killed very, very easily, especially if they're running something like close and or personal. By keeping that distance, from your target, which is the whole power of Storm, you don't have to be in that shotgun range. You can keep them at arm's length. Keep in mind remember that you can throw grenades while you're in Storm Trance. So if you see someone and they're just too far away and you have a grenade up, just throw the grenade. Force them out of wherever they are, especially if you end up behind cover, because that's going to be at your advantage. If you end up behind cover when your super finishes, but you've pushed them out of theirs, you can very easily push them from wherever you end up being. Okay. But because we pushed into a lane or a field, we get crossfired. So here we finally deal with the person, or attempt to deal with the person pushing us. And we end up just kind of pushing out and around. If the enemy player was actually set up, this push up on top of bridge, you would have been dead because you're absolutely only one shot on you. I would have pushed under bridge and tried to get up underneath them to push into shotgun range. When you're absolute, your goal, if you're going to continue to engage your opponent, your goal is always to kill them as fast as possible. If you're absolute. And especially with a shotgun, you don't want to put yourself in a position when you can get primary shots off. You want to avoid those situations until you're healthy. Our opponent is like super red barred, so he's kind of teleporting all over the place. Again, not a huge deal. And that's kind of how it ends. So really the big takeaways for me for this particular review were issues with commitment, which is kind of funny saying, but if you have commitment issues with engagements, then you should overcommit to engagements. You should chase someone for too long so you can have a better understanding of how long it's okay to chase. Or you should completely abandon the chase right away and turn to deal with the players that are flanking you. Because then you turn the flank into, oh, I'm going to sneak up behind this guy, into, oh crap, he's getting primary shots off on me and I wasn't prepared because I'm out of my cover. Knowing the difference between disengaging and fleeing, and when you need to do one or the other, and then how those work. So in a disengage, we talked a lot about a disengage in order to get them into shotgun range. It's very different disengaging to get someone in a primary range because you have to continue to create that space. Not only do you have to turn and challenge, but you have to continue to backpedal. You have to continue to move back. And then understanding the difference between a direct and an indirect challenge when it comes to what your opponents are doing. So if your opponent is very used to just pushing you head on, say they're a Juggernaut Titan, we can no longer directly challenge that player unless we have a lot of space between us. If we have a lot of space between us and we can get those 3 hand cannon shots off to break a Jug Shield, then that's fine. You can do that. Or if you have really good aim and you can hit their feet as they're challenging you, so by the time they pull off their shield, they're already absolute and you only need one more shot, that's fine too. But more often than not, we want to be approaching engagements indirectly. So we want to be moving away from that initial lunge where they're pushing us, that initial head-on engagement, and engage them from one side or the other. All right. So let's go ahead and go into a match real quick on Exodus Blue. And I'll show you some very basic examples of what it means to disengage and where you need to re-engage. Exodus Blue. Okay. Overall, like, that game was very winnable. And I know I asked people, send me an average game or a game you struggled in, which is good. But you can take the knowledge that game, most games aren't completely unwinnable. Sometimes they are. Sometimes, you just get chain supered over and over again. And there's nothing you can really do about that. That's fine. Most of the time, you can just try to position yourself like way far away. But even that doesn't always work, especially against these roaming supers that are very powerful, or something like a Nova. But the games that I get sent in that are winnable have a lot of really good takeaways, right? That I hope that you actually get out of it. So let's take that initial example of where I brought up disengaging and fleeing from the position from A flag. So I have a sniper out, so let's just switch over to a shotgun real quick. Okay, so in our case where we're running away, we saw that JT wanted to re-engage here, right? In this position. But the problem is that if I'm the chaser, what's my initial, and I'm a Titan, my initial thing is, oh, I'm going to skate because I'm trying to chase him down. So from that position, I'm always going to be above you, and you're going to be exposed from your cover in this position. But if you push all the way under into this position here, You're within primary range of that push, and if they continue to engage you, you're well within a shotgun range. You can even back up, and if you're in my case running Sunbreaker, you can sticky them. You don't actually have to shotgun someone in a shotgun engagement if you're running something like a flux grenade or a fusion grenade. If you're going to flee, again, this is a really good option for fleeing. When it comes to fleeing, your most important thing to think about is your cover and what it's going to look like from the opponent's point of view. So you tend to want to hug walls and try to get, as far away from them as possible and be under as much cover as possible from the pursuit. So if I'm the chaser in this position, you run underneath. My options for seeing you are very limited, right? So once I get here, I can see you for maybe one shot and come over here. I have maybe 2 shots here. And then if you're already behind the little fallen structure here, I have no more shots on you. So I have to get 3 perfect shots if I'm using something like a hand cannon. If I'm using a scout, you're not dead because there's no way I'm getting 3 headshots. If I'm using like a Coal Advances or a Jade Rabbit or something. If I'm using something more like a Distant Star or a Mida, you're not dead. You're not even close. And then you can re-engage me. You can even use this to bait me around this corner and, just shotgun me down on top of me. A complete flee is you're going to be at full health by the time you decide to re-engage your opponent. A disengage is going to result in you turning at some point when the situation can either turn in your favor or it'll result in a trade. And rumble trades are okay. In other situations like trials where you're in the enemy team, trades are bad. So then you want to try to turn that into a full flee. Let's take the other flee from here. So we've just killed someone out on a ramp. We push into our cover, and in this situation, again, someone's over there by that A symbol, and they're engaging us. So if you want to disengage, again, you can try to get into shotgun range the best you can and stay under your cover and just have your shotgun out ready for them to push around. But what you don't want to do is what JT did, and that's aim with your body. Aiming with your body is good when you're at full health and you're strafing around and you're using your cover. But when you're absolute, you have to aim with your head, which is your right stick. Body, left stick, head, right stick. So if I'm trying to bait someone around this corner, I'll drop down. They know I'm here. So, I'll just stay on and off radar trying to pull them around this corner. And then once I'm, at full health, because maybe they're afraid to push into me, I can back up and I can re-engage them however I need to, right? Or if I need to flee and I'm in this position, all you really need to keep track of is where you're going to get shot at. If someone is here, then you can't really flee to the left because there's nowhere you can go. And it's going to be difficult for you to flee to the right, but you want to leave yourself as exposed for as little time as possible. So a jump out here is bad. It's going to take us too long to jump out and get into cover. So what you want to make sure is, again, aim with your head, slide out. That gives them time to get one shot, yes, but if you wait for your health to go back to the first third here, you have 100 health. The next 2/3 is another 100 health. The first third is your shield. Your shield, it gives you 100 HP or around 100 HP, depending on armor. Knowing that you're going to survive one shot at full shield, or with your health bar back and your full shield not charged yet. So understanding your capabilities of disengaging are important as well. If you're no absolute, you just only have one shot left on you before you're dead. You don't want to push out here because you're going to die for free. There's nothing you can do to even challenge if you don't have something like a sniper from this kind of range. Again, in our example, person's back on A. If you have a sniper, you have to do, you need to quick scope because that's all the time you have. You can pull out and quick scope and take a shot. That's it. Instead, if you wait, and they don't push you, or even if they push you, if you have enough time to get out, the best you can, that's still going to put you in a better position than if you just pushed out too early and died, right? You should at least die trying to get a disengage on your opponent. to deal with them as they continue to try to pursue you. You can use that person's tendencies and the whole goal of the match against them. If the whole goal, especially in Rumble, is quick, efficient kills, you can use that against someone by being absolute and running away and pulling them out of their cover into this kind of position where, you know, you can use the triangle car as a head glitch. You can use it as cover if you need to. You can use the doorway as a way to bait them into a shotgun range engagement because it's in their best interest to push you. And you just use their own, you know, you use the fact that they're trying to win just as hard as you against them. They did the right thing by pushing you. But you can still counter whatever they're doing with specific maneuvers. Or just being smarter than them. Or in just some cases, you outgun them. I mean, that happens a lot too. If you put yourself in a position to get an opportunity to outgun someone, you should. You shouldn't just wait for them to push into you and kill you. All right, so again, just some brief tips on engaging and disengaging, and then, you know, the direct pushes. Again, this is a direct push if someone's just pushing you here. An indirect push would just merely just be pushing to the side, engaging from an angle. You know, either side. Those are going to be indirect engagements, where two forces aren't clashing into each other. You're clashing into them from a separate location. Their path is not going to directly take you into, you know, let's say shotgun range in this case, or just be able to high-five you. That's pretty much all I had for you guys today. If you want to support the stream, or if you're watching on the YouTube channel, you want to support the channel, you can always become a backer on Patreon. I really appreciate that. If you just want to follow or subscribe or whatever you guys do, I appreciate that as well. If you want to send me gameplay to get reviewed, again, I prefer not to have any 6s, 3s, elimination, rumble. That's my specialty. If you're a scrim player and you want me to review your 4s, I'm going to tell you right now, I review 4s the exact same way that I do 6s. It's very basic what you need to do there, and it's very team oriented. So I don't do 4s yet either. I know those are kind of gaining in popularity, but I don't see the point. I think 3s are tactically more sound. I think they're a better game type personally, and that's what I'm going to stick with. Coming up soon. Oh, and again, if you want to send me stuff, send it to Keen, Keen, at cruciblebootcamp.com. I put you in my queue, and then, you know, depending on map and what I want to talk about, once I review your gameplay, I'll send you a little email, let you know, hey, your episode's coming up, keep an eye out for it. Some little things, I'm going to start doing daily videos, which I will start actually after this one. They're going to be called 2-minute drills. So it's going to be 2 minutes of something you can do to improve. Normally it's going to be you either solo in something like a patrol or in a private match or with a partner, so you can get some live fire going and kind of understand the concepts I'm trying to teach you. I'm going to do those daily. It's going to be very simple, easy, basic stuff that you can practice over and over again. And then I'm also going to be doing one match after every Crucible Bootcamp episode. So if you stick around after the stream, when I do them live, you'll actually see them live. And if you don't, you can always catch them a little bit more well polished and edited later on in the archive on the YouTube video. Those are going to be inside the pouch, or my pouch. I'm going to go into a solo skirmish match, a solo elimination match, or a solo rumble match. And I'm going to walk you through what I'm thinking as I'm playing the game, and kind of let you get in the head of what I'm thinking about when I'm going through engagements, how I'm re-engaging, what I'm thinking about when I'm running away, how I want to re-engage someone, or if I'm just fleeing, you know, when I want to use my abilities or my super, how I'm actually going to do that, all that kind of stuff. So those, again, are going to be live on the stream after the show, or a little bit more edited and more polished later on the YouTube channel. But thank you guys for watching. As usual, I'm your host, King Koala. This has been Crucible Bootcamp. Class is dismissed. See you later.